TCU, what happened? TCU, how did I lose to Kansas State? Come on with this year, TCU. Is that right? 15 is the Heisman winner. Is the Heisman winner. Go up in this year, TCU. You lost 28 points of your record. It was one game of your record season. Go up in this season. One thing here. What happened? Boy, what happened?
Oh. Ha 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 ha. You know, I don't know how we got here, but we're here. What did everybody say? I made a video. It was about 7-8 days ago, a week or two ago, where I said that Alabama's got a better shot to make the playoff than what a lot of people think. And everybody, go read the comments. Everybody said, Matt, you're being delusional. You're being one of those Bama fans trying to cling on to false hope. And yet here we are. There's a conversation. Now, I'm not saying Bama's going to get into the playoff, but like I titled that video, Alabama had a better shot of making the playoff than what all of you watching this video thought. Whoa. Hold on. How could I forget? TCU! What happened? How'd you... I ain't even going to do it, but seriously, how'd you lose to Deuce Vaughn in Kansas State? Is anybody shocked by this? Absolutely not. First things first, I want to say Max Duggan. I mean, should we give the Heisman to Max Duggan? I don't know. I think I've had him around my top 2-ish, top 3. Recently, I had Caleb Williams as my front runner. But I have a hard time even wanting to give it to Caleb Williams with how he played and how USC played last night. I'm kind of leaning towards, if I'm a Heisman voter, which I'm not, why not give it to Max Duggan? I like giving it to the guys that show up in the big-time moments, and Max Duggan has done that, not just today, even though they lost. He's done that all throughout the season. Hold on a second. Let me pull up my phone because I want to see his stats for the day. I know if you look at the box score, it's not going to look like Max Duggan had a Heisman performance, but that's why you can't look at the box score. This guy was the reason TCU was even in the game. Yeah, I got it pulled up right here. 18 for 36. You see that and you're like, well, dang, he only completed 50% of his passes, but he had 250 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1. Yeah, it was a costly interception and a QBR 83.7. Also, though, got to throw this in there. Scrambling, the dude was like 2012 Johnny Manziel. 15 carries for 110 yards. That last drive, just to get it into overtime, where if you watch it, you know what I'm talking about. The dude was out of breath. He converts on the 2-point conversion. I have no problem whatsoever with giving the Heisman to Max Duggan. I don't think anyone else out there actually deserves it. And the same thing with the playoff talk. It almost feels like nobody wants to go to the playoff this year. Does Ohio State, what have I told you guys the past 2 weeks? Does Ohio State or Bama and Bama deserve to be in the playoff? Heck to the no. But at this point, somebody's got to get in. It's kind of like in elementary school. You know when you're playing kickball or playing dodgeball and you're the team captain and it's the last pick and there's 2 people left and they both suck? You don't really want to pick anybody, but you kind of have to. You see what I'm saying? That's what it's coming down to with the Heisman race and the college football playoff race. Or not really the race, but you get what I'm trying to say. And oh yeah, by the way, I know this is slightly off topic, but what is going on with this LSU game? As to when I'm watching this, as to when I'm filming this, it's 7-7. Kayshon Boutte just had like a 50-yard touchdown. And you see that it's 7-7, but LSU is heavily outplaying Georgia. There was a 10-point swing where LSU, they're kicking a field goal to go up 3-0. It gets blocked, and Georgia goes up 7-0. What is going on? Like I've told you guys, this is my favorite part of the season, not because of rival week or any of that. It's because we're at the point of the season where chaos, it is going to happen. It's going to ensue. The tricky part about it is trying to predict where it's going to happen. For example, nobody in their right mind picked USC to lose by 20-something points to Utah. Nobody in their right mind thought Tennessee was going to get blown out by Spencer Rattler in South Carolina. And I don't think anybody thought South Carolina was going to go next week to Clemson and upset them. And oh yeah, I also got to bring this up, Ohio State fans. Nobody thought you was going to lose to Michigan by 20 plus points at home, but we'll talk about that in just a second. I know why you're here. You know why you're here. Let's just get straight to it. Does Alabama have a chance now? I mean, everything, and this is the funny part about it. I was talking to one of my friends about it. Everything, like, you got to think about what had to happen for Alabama to even get to this point is almost, it's not even chaotic. It's beyond that. I don't even know a word to describe it. It's almost unimaginable, unthinkable, and yet it happened. That's what I want y'all to understand. For Alabama to even be in the conversation to get that last spot, and let's not play around here, there is a conversation. It's crazy to even think about. As crazy as it is, like I told you guys, I wish I could be shocked by this, but I'm not. I made a video 2 weeks ago talking about how we could even get to this point. Let's lock in and cut straight to business. I told you in the video late last night that was really uploaded at 1 a.m., so early Saturday morning, that if TCU loses in a hard-fought game, I'd still put them in over Alabama. I really would. As we all know, it's one thing to say something before it actually happens. Now that it's happened, how do I really feel about it? When you start to break things down, it really gets interesting. And the resumes for Alabama and said TCU, relatively similar. TCU, 2 top 20 wins. Alabama, hey, what do you know? 2 top 20 wins, or top 25 wins at that. TCU, one of their best wins against Texas at Texas. Alabama's best win. Hey, what do you know? Their best win, or one of their best wins, is against Texas at, what do you know? Texas. You see what I'm saying? Similar resumes. But, and I have a big but. You better believe that. The difference is Alabama has not 1, but 2 losses, those being on last second place. Talk about that in a second. And TCU only has 1 loss. I know that's an argument a lot of people are going to bring up, and it is a fair argument. Oh, Matt, a 2-loss team, I don't care if it is in the SEC, they should even be considered for the 4-team playoff and blah, 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 blah. And yes, most years that would be the case. That would be the argument, but this year has been nothing but chaos. So there is going to be a conversation. If you think for a second the committee is sitting there in their luscious, nice chairs going, oh yeah, we're not even going to talk about it, Bob. TCU's in. I don't care that they lost. We can't put in a 2-loss Bama. If you think they're saying that, you have literally lost your mind. Everybody, this is the funny part about it. I don't even want Bama to get in for the fact that I think they can win a championship, because I don't think this Bama team can win a championship. I more so want this Bama team sorry, I'm laughing. I want this Bama team just to get in so we can piss off the rest of the country. And I just want to see the reactions, because I know it. You know it. Everybody watching this video, we know this. The college football landscape will explode if this Bama team gets in. And that is a cold, hard fact. But anyways, like I was saying, if you think that committee's sitting in their chairs, not even talking about it, they're just going to pack up shop and go home, and they're going to get a good night's rest. They're getting in at that number 4 spot. Ohio State's getting in at number 3. Flip-flop them. No, they are having a conversation about putting Bama in. And here's where things get interesting, Bama fans. Pay attention to this. There is still some more stuff that could happen that goes in Bama's favor. And I can't believe I didn't even think about this. And I can't take credit for it, because somebody, I don't know who it was, they sent it to me on Instagram and Twitter. Alabama fans, you need to be watching this LSU game that's going on currently. And you need to be watching that Purdue-Michigan game. And you need... It's not really a want, but you need LSU to win and Purdue to win. And I know what you're sitting there saying, yo, Matt, that doesn't matter. Georgia and Michigan, they're getting in regardless. And that's not what I'm talking about and referring to, because that's what I originally thought myself. So that's okay if you think that. I'm going to offer you a different perspective. If Purdue goes out there and beats Michigan, that committee is going to go, well, dang, that's kind of embarrassing for Ohio State. They lost to that team. Maybe Michigan ain't really that great, and possibly Ohio State, they could drop below Bama. I'm not saying that's a thing, and I'm not trying to give you false hope, Bama fans. I'm going to tell you where I stand on this after I tell you this part. But next thing that would also help Alabama is if LSU wins this game against Georgia, then the committee's going, hey, yeah, Alabama lost to LSU, but that's the SEC champion. You see what I'm talking about? That conversation will be brought up. And I'm just trying to lay out all the possibilities for you guys. Let's say even if all that stuff happens, the chaotic of chaos, Georgia loses this game to LSU, Purdue beats Michigan by 3 or 10 points. Do I think Alabama deserves, and they should be in over TCU? Would I put Alabama over TCU? This is going to ruffle some feathers, but I would not. And I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. And I'll explain why I believe that way. Reason number one as to why I believe that, unlike your casual fan or even a lot of you guys, I would say 99.8% of you guys watching this video, you watch the games, but you don't go back and watch the film and watch them twice. I do that. I have the luxury of doing that. And I just like doing that every now and then so I can see, okay, why is Bama having a quote-unquote down year? What makes their defense so embarrassing at times, and why does the offense struggle? With that being said, I say that to say this. I've watched all these Bama games not once but twice, sometimes 3 times to see certain parts in the games, and this Alabama team does not look better than TCU on paper or really in the games itself. They don't pass the eye test for me. TCU, yeah, they've played in a lot of close games, but they don't look worse than Alabama. Here's a fun fact for you. Auburn, one of the worst teams in the SEC, had 318 rushing yards on that Alabama defense, and Alabama knew they were going to run the ball every single play. Alabama gave up 27 points to a sorry, let me emphasize this, a sorry and pitiful Auburn team. I know, well, not just some, but most Bama fans, they don't even think nothing about it. They go, hey, we beat Auburn by 20 plus points, 49-27. That's a convincing win. But to me, it wasn't. The defense still looks terrible. Yeah, the offense is great. We know that. The defense, not so great. It's the same thing with the LSU game, the same thing with the Tennessee game, the same thing with the Ole Miss game, same thing with the Texas A&M game. I could continue to go on and on. Bottom line is, long story short, I don't care what happens the rest of this day. I'm not putting Bama in over TCU. Bama doesn't deserve to be in. I already know what a lot of Bama fans are going to say. Well, Matt, how can you say that? You're supposed to be a Bama fan. Yes, I am a Bama fan, but before that, I'm a realist. Last but not least, before I end off this video, I do want to bring this up because it's a big deal to me. I also have a hard time penalizing a TCU team that was out there today, battling it on the field, lost in overtime. Yeah, they lost, but they were playing today. My point is, Alabama, they're sitting on the couch making TikToks, eating cheesy puffs, going, dang, man, I hope we can get in, Bryce, man. We sure do belong in. Do you really? You're sitting on the couch. You didn't even prove yourself today. It's just hard for me as a college football fan who covers this stuff to reward an Alabama team that didn't play sitting on the couch. And I can't penalize a TCU team that went out there and lost in overtime by 3 points. Now, if TCU lost by 17 or 20, different conversation. But that didn't happen, guys. Come on. I don't like the idea of penalizing a team that went out there, left it all on the line, and they lost on a last-second play, and that's what happened. Do I believe this TCU team would beat this Alabama team this year? Absolutely not. I'd pick Alabama to win that game 10 times out of 10. But that's why we play the games. They got to matter. They got to count for something. And Alabama, they haven't looked impressive this year. They would have dominated in all of their 10 wins. Yeah, I could see the argument, but the bottom line is they didn't. It'll definitely be interesting, though. I've already said way too much. Well, let me know your thoughts down below. But